Hi, I'm going to talk about how to work as a team. During this project, you're going to be working as a team, and there are some skills you need to work on to be successful. First, let's look at why we focus on teamwork. Teamwork builds a lot of important skills for you as a student and for you later in your career. It builds communication, leadership, decision-making, time management, problem-solving, seeing from another perspective, and conflict management skills. These are all really important skills for anyone in any job. You're going to be working on a team, and you need to have team meetings. Your team meetings are not just sitting around chatting, but they should have focus. So for your first team meeting, here are some things you need to decide. Your team should agree on your project goals and objectives, your timeline of work, your roles and duties in the group, the collaboration and communication styles you'll be using, the content sharing and storage that you'll be using, and how to deal with conflict. These are all important decisions that should happen on day one. Let's break that down into pieces. First, you need to discuss your project goals and objectives. What does that mean? The goals are what you need to produce. You'll need to produce several items during the course of this project, some of them individual, some of them as a group, and the objectives are how you will achieve those goals. So you should make a list of everything your team will need to produce so you can start figuring out how you're going to produce them. Next, let's look at your timeline of work. You should explore the project pacing guide for this. It will tell you when the major times are that you need to submit things for review or for marking. You need to put dates on those goals that you just decided. You need to create a shared calendar where everyone can have access to the information about the dates and the details of what you're doing together as a team. This calendar can also include the meetings, the work that you're doing and need to do, and rough drafts. There's a link below this video that will take you to the Team Player Quiz. This is a quiz that will give you some information about how you currently work in a team and maybe some things that you need to develop in terms of your teamwork skills. For the division of work, here are a few different roles that you might identify in your project. The roles at the top, the project manager, content specialist, and design specialist, are general roles that will probably last from the beginning to the end of the project. The roles at the bottom are more specific roles that will have more active times and less active times during the project. For example, the editor will have nothing to do until the end. So this could be someone's role, but probably not their main role. Some things you need to think about when you're deciding on roles. The workload should be fair to each team member. Each person should have a set amount of work to do and should have a clear understanding of what that is. And if someone feels that they have too much or that someone has too little, you need to negotiate. You need to come to a decision as a team of who needs more and who needs less. The workload should be spread over time fairly. You shouldn't have the same person very active at the beginning and not active at the end. Each person needs a role or a set of roles, a group of roles that will keep them active from the beginning to the end to make sure that this is fair. You should use the team members' strengths and weaknesses to divide work. That doesn't mean that everyone should do the thing that they're best at, although you can divide it that way. You could decide what some of your weaknesses are in terms of teamwork and decide to work on those by taking a role that you feel will be challenging to you. That's a great way to develop your leadership skills and your teamwork skills. You may need to rebalance the roles during the project. If it seems that someone is not doing much work, maybe you need to give them another role. If it seems like someone is doing a lot of the work, maybe you need to give part of their roles to someone else. You will need to choose these roles at your first meeting, so make sure that you can make some decisions about that right away. For team communication, so you need to determine how you will communicate. So how often will you communicate? Is this something you're going to need to check in on daily or weekly? And when will the team updates be made? Someone needs to be in charge of communicating things to the team, the decisions that are being made, the progress. When is that going to happen? When are your meeting times and locations? What time works best for you? Where works best for you? Are you going to be meeting online? Are you going to be meeting in person? These are some decisions that will affect how the rest of your project goes. For informal communication, what platform are you using? Are you going to be chatting on WhatsApp or some other platform? Now, for content sharing and storage, this involves a lot of the research and answers the question, where will you store your work? It needs to be somewhere that everyone has access to and that they can share it. So you need to decide what platform you're using: Google Drive, Microsoft 365, some other file sharing system. How will the information be organized? You're going to be doing a lot of research and working together in a team. It needs to have organization or you won't be able to find anything. If you start deciding about this now, that will be helpful. How to deal with conflict. Everyone thinks conflict is not going to happen, but it does. During a project, somebody gets upset with the amount of work they have to do or with other people not meeting deadlines. It's normal, but there are some ways that you can make it work out better in the end. It's a good idea to discuss problems before conflict happens. If everyone has a clear idea of your goals and expectations, then it's more likely they'll keep up with them. It's important to remain calm and respectful. I think we all know that. It's good to communicate clearly and ask questions. Just telling someone something is not quite the same as asking for their opinion about something. You should listen actively. That means you're listening and responding. And you should focus on the issue and not the person. If something is not getting done, it's the task that's not getting done, not the person that's not doing the task. It helps to reduce conflict if you focus on the task instead. Keep an active eye on the balance of work. Make sure everyone feels like the balance of work is fair. Again, you may need to rebalance the rules during the project depending on how your team is working together and the nature of your project. You should always work for a compromise. If someone wants something and someone wants something else, the best solution is meeting somewhere in the middle where they're both a little unhappy and no one's totally happy. That's a compromise, and that's what gets a team through conflict. As a last resort, if you're having a lot of problems, you can seek the help of the teacher, but please understand that the teacher's role is not to help you work together as a team. That's something that you should be doing yourselves. At the next meeting, you should plan the meeting beforehand, discussion topics, decisions. Make an agenda for the meeting. What are you going to discuss? Step 1, step 2, step 3, topic 1, topic 2. You should start on time and you should stay on task. That probably means everyone turning off their phone notifications during the meeting. You should work on the agenda items. Make sure that you're getting everything done. Use the agenda like a checklist. You should assign tasks. Team members need tasks to do. That way everyone is clear in understanding what they need to do before the next meeting. And you should set deadlines. Saying, we need to get this done next week is not the same as saying, this needs to be done Tuesday by 10 a.m. That's much clearer, and that's how your deadline should work. And you should record decisions. If you're deciding how the research should go or what your topic should be, someone should be making notes of this. What are the decisions that your team is making? And finally, you should agree on your next meeting time and location, so you're ready for the next one. Now is the time to build the teamwork skills you will need in your life. We hope that this project will help you do that. Please work carefully, work together as a team, keep your communication open, and together, I think you can come up with some really great projects.